Good morning, all. Welcome to Pimlico Race Course. Naomi Tucker joined here by our analyst, Callie Francois. We are exactly 1 week away from Black Eyed Susan Day. That means 1 week and 1 day from the Preakness as
One
well.
day, we are just we're just days away from all of the we just have the draw on Monday coming up. That we just have it's Preakness week. It's kind of like when people celebrate their birthday, they celebrate the whole birthday in their whole week. It's their birthday week. We kind of celebrate Preakness the same way. Meaning, we also celebrate the Infield Fest of 2022 that's coming up. We've got Marshmallow, Frank Walker, Moneybag Yo, and the Chainsmokers highlighting the performances in the Infield Fest on Saturday. Be sure to get your tickets at infieldfest.com to get access to the infield for 2022.
I mean, we are the middle jewel of the Triple Crown, known for putting on a spectacle. I already had friends texting me a while ago asking
Same.
who's going to be performing. So very excited. Of course, Marshmallow be on the main stage. We got Megan Thee Stallion on the Friday. We also have a culinary fest.
I'm excited
Everyone
about
is
that
looking forward
culinary
to
fest.
this.
I'm real. This is something new that they're doing this year as far as the culinary fest, and that's on Friday. Yes,
Absolutely. We have to ask someone to grab us some
we
snacks so we
do.
can
Yes,
taste the samples, right?
or at least try and get there after all the races and see if there are any scrappings left.
We'll try our best. Of course, the action itself on the Friday is probably going to take precedent for us. Oh, what a terrific day it was last year, and it's bound to be again this year. But let's have a look at the current track conditions. We'll be racing on the main track and on the turf. As you can see, main track coined good, fast. Excuse me. The turf is coined good. Just had some rain overnight.
Yes, and a little bit of drizzle as well this morning. It was a bit on and off, but we do have that track that's kind of been sealed just slightly with some harrows over it, but should be good to go as far as being fast. That should stay a little bit throughout the day, I think.
Yeah, well protected against the rain. They're being sealed, and you can see all the anticipation in the infield with all the buildings being up already. But let's dive into the first race of today's card. Race number 1 starts at early pick 5. I decided to try my best. I couldn't land a single. I was close, but in the end did not commit.
Same. I couldn't find a single in my pick six either.
Yeah, race number 3, I go 3 deep here. We'll dive into this field momentarily. 3, 5, and 6 for me. And then in race number 2, I do whittle it down ever so slightly using the 1 and the 5 R Tenderoni. And then my top pick is the 5 Lightfoot Miss. Very tempted to single on her, but yeah, just added the 1 in there. Race number 3, I go 2 deep again using the 2 contended and now to try and make sure that if Tate gets beaten, I'm not completely out. Race 4, that's a deep field. Turf, 1 mile, 1, 4, 5, and 11 for me. Race 5, the 4 and the 8 to hopefully get things going in style here in race number 1. $48 a flat ticket. Let's discuss race number 1. We'll start with your top selection, Callie, who's also mine in here. The number 6, Zip a Line to Heaven for trainer Michael Trombetta. Broke slightly awkwardly last time out on the turf at Gulfstream Park, but proceeded to try and run with pretty much a blistering early pace. Continued against the decent group there. I think there possibly might be a little bit of a slower pace for him to go with here.
There will be, but on top of that, this horse, I'm just looking at the overall pattern that this horse likes to improve off of. So you go back to that breaking the maiden at the 25 at Colonial, where essentially had a front running type of pattern, and then you go start to get into this Gulfstream Championship meet and is just not quite handling that task. So now we're taking it a little bit slight backwards, just a little bit more back, and maybe trying to get a little bit more forwardly placed as they did 2 back in February on the turf at Gulfstream. That is the run I like. That's what I like to see. That's what I think is going to get the best performance today for Zipline to Heaven.
Yeah, it's a fun field to start with. You also use the number 7 Patriarch Artie, coming off a layoff here last seen on the 15th of October, but that was a decent performance, eye-catching enough.
It was eye-catching enough with a decent enough field. We've got We Miss Artie, who's with his turf sprinters 28%, so I'm just taking that really into the biggest account for this.
Yeah, and I use a couple of different horses underneath. Look, we're on the turf. Anything can really happen with some of these. I use the number 3, Always Misbehaving as well. Let's have a look at the video there for trainer Hassan Alamri. 2 starts back at Pimlico. He was chasing 2 leaders, was able to find the seam, as you can see there, comes in. But then I kind of have to switch out again belatedly. You can see that here, the gap the gap kind of closes. Gamely chases. I'm a star boy though, and eager to the wire.
Exactly. So once they tip out, then we get a little bit of encouragement. Takes a little bit. Doesn't have much of a turn of foot, so we'll still need to likely be a little bit of that tracking style forwardly placed, I think. But what is encouraging is that this horse did perform well with a little bit of a break in between June and July. This is Keith Fustel's win place bet of the day. Again, this is a late breaking gelding. Hassan Omari is at $5.14 with a return on investment in the past 5 years on the dirt, and then he's getting pretty strong with his turf starters overall, especially as of last year at Pimlico.
Yeah, I think my only question mark is he going to be ready after that
right.
break? But look, I do like the Lamry stable on the turf as we've highlighted. Race number 2 starts the early pick 4. Now Keith Fustel might not be here this morning with us, but did create a ticket for us. This is how he plays it. 1, 2, and 5 here in the opening leg, and then he goes 2 deep in race number 3 using the 2 contended now. It's also number 4 Nostalgic Run, so he doesn't use Tate in here. I think he's trying to get a price home. Race 4 he also goes deep 2, 4, 5, and 8, and then in race number 5 he only uses 2 horses in that. Jimmy the Kid, the number 1, as well as the number 4 Francis X, who's also my top selection. $24 a flat ticket. We got things going again here with that early pick 4 at Pimlico. Race number 2 is a claiming $10,000 to $8,000 event, mile 16 at distance. Vizimez, a 3-year-old and up. And Callie, we have similar horses here, just kind of flicked around our top 2.
Yeah.
Our Tenderoni, your top selection here. She's been on the improve and has strong tactical speed from the inside gate.
I do, and I also think that this filly just loves the dirt more than she loves the turf. She threw in they had her entered twice at Tampa. I'm assuming they were down there. They were in Florida. The turf was going good. Why not give it a go? But especially that last performance at Tampa with a little bit of an inside pressure, with a little bit of outside pressure, but was able to overcome that. Maybe perhaps took a little bit of an early lead. I really like that start. 3 start to go with Daniel Centeno. We get him back on. Now he's back in the Mid-Atlantic from the Tampa meet, so we get that similar type of ride today.
Yeah, I highly respect her in this spot. I do love Lightfoot Miss, though. We do have a video spotlight on her as well for trainer Dale Capuano. In her last outing, she really hit her stride. She's now making her Pimlico debut, but she's kind of just slotted in behind there into that first turn. I think she's going to do something similar here. But this was a wonderfully well-timed ride by apprentice Jan Aviles. He found a gap on the rail, and she responded when all the others started to tire.
It's funny, even before, it took her a while to get through that little bit of a hole. We are talking about horses that are into the 10 at this level, but once she was able to, before that she looked kind of beaten. She was done with it, but then she carried on and really got some confidence, and I think that's what happened once she went through that rail hole, is that they can get a lot of confidence right after that, and I think that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, I certainly feel like she's really started to find herself and can just continue building on that. Now, both of us use Cairo Queen underneath. Perhaps one of the pacemakers in here?
Perhaps. I see here's the thing, she's been a little bit all over the board. You go back to when Epicor claimed her, and she was making these front-running moves and showing good numbers at it, but that last start was very interesting. Didn't get the best of breaks, and didn't get the best of breaks, but at the beginning kind of had to overcome that, and it showed a positive result when overcoming a little bit of trouble. So this is the kind of filly where as long as she gets comfortable, then she's happy.
Yeah, in the past she's shown gate speed, and I'm thinking she might just be able to get back to that here going longer again as well. Race number 3 is the start of the Rainbow Pick 6. We just keep giving you these tickets to play here in the early card at Pimlico, and Callie, I'm going to let you talk us through it.
I'll take it away. So I go a bit wide in this race. I think this race can go a little bit anywhere with the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 6. Race number 4, I go in with the 4 and the 8. I believe the 4 is your price play in race number 4, Naomi. Race number 5, I also doubled down on that with the 5 and the 8. I think that's a little bit slightly wide open field, but I zeroed in on those 2 horses. I didn't want to go too wide in that spot for that maiden 10. Race number 6, I go with the 3 and the 5 in that maiden special weight, the Brittany Russell, excuse me, and then the number 3, Lara Difficile. Race number 7 is where I tend to go. I widen up a little bit with the 3, the 6, and the 12, who drew in off of the AE. And then in our nightcap, I go with the 2, the 4, and the 5 in that starter optional 25 for a total ticket of $57.60 today.
And starting right here in race number 3, we're going 1.125 the distance here on the main track. Optional claimer starter allowance in here. And we landed on the same horse on top. We both use Tate for trainer Michael Trombetta. First fight a claim for Trombetta. We know it's not a barn that claims too often, but does pretty well when he finds a horse he likes.
He does all right as of late. I get shorter entries, and I'm coming off of shorter, more recent goes. So out of that, in the last 9 claims, only 1 winner but 3 thirds. So you shouldn't leave this horse off of your ticket. But then on top of that, with Tate in this starter optional, I do love this horse in the starter optional. They tried to enter yesterday for the 12th of May. It was a scratch, but I like this horse for the 9 furlongs today. I think he's asking for it, and I think that's exactly what he gets today.
I agree with you. He's always struck me as that kind of longer distance horse that just keeps rolling, keeps going. So this mile and 1/8, he's actually going to enjoy, whereas sometimes some others, you really wonder if this is as far as they truly want to go. I feel like Tate does love this distance. Now on the rails, blow my budget for trainer Mark Salvaggio. Last time he came with a deep closing effort to snatch 3rd at the claiming 40 level. That was at Laurel Park a couple of weeks ago in here. So the way that he runs in that last race anyway kind of suggests that the mile and 1/8 would work as well.
Correct. I think it wasn't his first time trying at Laurel, but it was his first time trying at Laurel after he broke his maiden, and so it wasn't a disrespectful run at that claiming 40 level. Was a bit taken further back than where this horse more normally likes to be. This horse that likes to be just a little bit in the mid pack, maybe just behind mid pack, not way back. I had a little bit of issues in the beginning, which I think did take away from it. So you take that into account and then add that distance of 1.1 miles, and I think this horse fits perfectly here.
Yeah, I use Contented now in my exact. You have him underneath. Here's a quick mention for trainer Kieran McGee here. Runs solid mid 60 bars in his last 2. Seems to just be on that upward curve.
Yes, I think he's running right out of the barn. He's running right out of his stall, so he's going to really enjoy that as well. Kieran McGee, this is a horse that is just slowly but surely getting up there in facts and figures, and I think especially after that, I think he bounced slightly after that win. That was a hard go on a sloppy surface, so that was a hard run, and this horse does run hard. So we get that similar type of trip where this horse does fit as far as tactics go in the field as far as his placement. So I think this is one that Kieran McGee is really going to improve on the turf today.
I can't wait to see what he'll fare. Race number 4 is another turf event. We're going 1 mile the distance here. Optional claim as starter allowance. You have the rail set out at 20 feet as well. And we're going to start with a little bit of a price play for me in here, but I see you got him in your exacta.
I do.
The number 4, My Man, Pots and Pans. And we're going to look back at the last time he was on the turf right here at Pimlico. If to go back to end of May of 2021, but that resulted in a win. He was actually beforehand just a touch bit keen on the rail, but Carroll kind of kept him in that spot, hoping for a gap to open, and well, it did. He took the shortest route home and really stretched out there to the wire.
You know, with a lot of these horses that get ranked, depending on how they are, if they're not too ranked, they'll just have a rank moment. It's best just to keep them in and keep them occupied and keep them behind a horse and on the job, because when a spot does open up, this sort of thing happens right here on screen. So we get, and then, you know, we come back, have a little, coming back off of, didn't really have a winter break, so to say, but more had a spring break. We haven't seen him since March, since his win at Penn National, but I really do feel like and he also didn't disperform on a yielding turf, so we have a good turf course today. I think this horse is going to enjoy the turf very much today.
He seems to really have found himself again. I know that he was a horse that kind of went up and down a little bit in his career. He's a 7-year-old, but when he's good with that gleaming coat, you see him in the paddock and you know he's ready. I think this could really be a spot.
You know, even when he is up and down, his range isn't that much. It's not there's not a huge range to him. So this horse, I think this horse is actually a little bit more consistent than one wants to give him credit for. But I mean, just as far as his class goes, like he's in the right spot here today.
Yeah, Carol knows him very, very well. So glad to see her continue that partnership here. You use the number 8 on top as well, which is Bodie's maker for trainer Jamie Ness. I use him underneath. We haven't seen him on the turf in quite a while, but when you look back on the go back Oakland Park figures as well as at Woodbine, he is quite a classy individual. I guess he just has to start rolling back into that form, but seemingly now in the Ness barn, you think that that's going to happen.
He's pretty flashy in this field. That was just why I picked him on top. And for overall on his turf, he's tried the turf 4 times, 2 wins on the turf, 1 second. So clearly this horse likes the turf. Jamie Ness, it's one of his weaker stats. He's about 22% on from the dirt to turf, which is
that's
really
not that weak.
It's not. That's saying something for Jamie Ness. So but however, his other stronger stat, first after the claim and new trainer, 42% as of late. So and I really listen. I think Rodriguez is a very, very nice rider on the circuit here. So I think he's a bit deadly on the type of horse like this, who is sort of in a similar spot as your man, my man, Pots and Pans, maybe just a tick behind. With the 8 post, has a lot of room to get to that first turn. Will settle himself really, really nicely before we get there.
Yeah, I threw in the number 1 Tankerville as well. Love JD Acosta getting back on board. 1 together 3 starts ago, went hurdling, and now came back here to Pimlico. So I think he's going to enjoy the cut back and distance. We'll take a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with the rest of the card soon. Welcome back to Pimlico Race Course. We're on race number 5 here. 6 furlongs, the distance claiming $10,000 to $8,000. And none with a 2 in their entire career. Callie, we're going to start with your top selection in here. And we were kind of discussing this horse a little bit before. Loaded Sniper for trainer Charles Frock. The reason I ended up not using him, even though he's very live in here, I just feel like there's a couple of even matched horses in here. On time for me was quite similar to a couple of others, so I ended up using them, but do not discount him whatsoever. The weight comes off today as well, which certainly helps.
I think, we got Yana Vilas on. I think you're right. This is a little bit of a wide open affair, Naomi. I think he gets really, I'm just looking at his last 2 races, and I think he loves that 6 furlong distance. He won at 7, breaking his maiden up at Woodbine, but as of late, I think with the way Jan will ride this horse, he's going to give this horse a nice, maybe perhaps bump him up a little bit in there in the field as far as placement goes, but in between the 5.5 and the 6.5, I really do think he does get his sweet spot here, aside from, also making his second try at that claiming 10, which is the lowest level we've seen him. So for me, it's a bit of an obvious choice.
Yeah, I'm not talking anyone off him here. We're saying, of course, the weight comes off, although Jaron Barbosa was on before, also taking weight off, so they this is
a race to go for prices.
That was my idea. Exactly what we mentioned. Jaron Barbosa, he's actually on the number 8 towards the outside. They shackled for trainer Claudio Gonzalez. Blinkers go on today. Now we know that Gonzalez and Jaron Barbosa have been an incredibly dangerous combo thus far. Now the horse itself doesn't have the best of records, I have to concede. Only 1 from 32. But I like the fact they put the blinkers on to sharpen him up a little bit.
They do. He is 13% with the blinkers on, but J-Ron Barbosa and Gonzalez are 54% together right now. So, yes, deadly. But blinkers come at the right time because we haven't seen a win from him in a very, very long time. So he's one of those that likes to hang about, likes to be in the herd. The biggest question is, will the blinkers, we're going to see how the blinkers affect him. And, hey, 3-1, might as well go for it, Naomi.
Absolutely. Well, I use the number 4 Francis X on top for trainer Donald Barr. He gets to this level after trying his hand against a couple of stronger groups, but he did break his maiden in the maiden 10 company, so you think this will be more doable. Had a 3-month freshener. Looks like he should be good to go again.
He should be. They tried him for after you're breaking your maiden at the 10, and then you try for 16 and starter optional. You're gonna expect to get those kind of results. So we give this horse a little bit of time. We come back at it. We're at the 4 post. Some decent works coming in. It should put in a decent performance today.
As we move on to race number 6, a maiden special weight event for 3-year-old fillies. We're going 6 furlongs the distance here. This is a fun field lined up, and I can see that you and I both ended up using the Brittany Russell trained first-time starter Royal Whisper on top. Now, looking at her work tab, Callie, I saw they tried to get her going last fall, gave her a break, and came back, and well, she's been working a couple of bullets.
Well, and this is why Brittany Russell's 24% recently with that first-time starter 3-year-olds. A lot of these decent horsemen will do the right thing. We're talking about 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds here. They're still developing. They're still growing. I like to call it a lot of growing pains, and sometimes their growing pains just don't come at the right time when those first-time starter, when those maiden races come in the first bit of the season. So give the horse some time, give some winter off, come back, and there's a reason why this horse came back. Near bullet works every single time except for that last work out of the gate, which was still 101 over the 5 furlongs. That's a great work coming in.
Looks very well positioned in here. Pedigree also precocious, half sibling to blame the boost for Wesley Ward, who won on debut as a 2-year-old and then ran second in the stakes at Saratoga.
Yep.
The number 3, Ladro di Vici for trainer Claudio Gonzalez. She's making her 3-year-old debut. Lasix come on. She had 2 2-year-old tries, which were decent, and now making her Pimlico debut.
Yes, making her Pimlico debut. She's been touched all over the place. She was at Monmouth before she had her winter break, and then she came back to Laurel. Only a couple works. I don't like. I wanted to see more works for this filly coming in off of that little bit of layoff. Claudia Gonzalez is 19% as opposed to Brittany's 29% first after the layoff. So that we understand why now there are more works for Brittany's horse coming in than there are for Claudio's. So I see this horse competing very well. I just see this horse needing a race prior.
Yeah, we'll see how she fares. Of course, it's hard to break Brittany's stats in any occasion. She does very well with a lot of different types of horses, first-time starters, off the break, blinkers on, you name it. She tends to do very well at it.
She
of
does.
course, a very deserving meet title winner at the spring meet at Laurel Park, of course, first for her. So congratulations again to her and her team. I'll quickly mention the first on the rail, Happy Tappy Sue for trainer Ben Perkins Jr. as well. Was a scratch on April the 22nd, had some problems in the gate. The Dam is a half-to multiple turf stakes winner, so we are looking a bit more of a turfy pedigree. Comes in here from Delaware, but the work tab looks, decent and complete.
The work tab supports it. Listen, you got with these first-time starters, you don't want to get too complicated. Just they're used to training on a dirt surface. Just get them out running in their first time out on the dirt. That's fair enough. The only problem, and I feel like you and I left this horse underneath for a reason. The one post prior to the gate issues, prior to this first-time start again. So this filly will be sitting in the gate for a little bit. So this is going to be a real test of her patience today. But Benny Perkins always turning out. He's always done a well enough job. The first-time start stats out of the latest entries, out of the last 9 starts, 1 win, 5 seconds, and 1/3. So that's over half of the last current entries, first-time starter being second.
Oh, that certainly means that they're ready to go.
Yes.
So perhaps a bit of racing luck is needed as well.
Yes.
Race number 7 is a first level Maryland-bred, Maryland-sired allowance here. Maryland 16 on the turf. We have plenty of turf action coming your way. Always deep fields lining up. Let's start with our video spotlight on the horse that you ended up using it on top. Cosmicality, of course, a half-brother to Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner, Pegasus World Cup Invitation winner, now with Steyer, Nick's Go. And look, we see him do what he tends to do. He is a bit of a keen horse. He opened up by 5-6 lengths there. John Novello aboard. He ran his heart out late, to be quite honest. Unfortunately, he got caught, but after doing this, still a tremendously honest effort.
You're very kind when you say keen horse. I say he's an out-and-out rank horse. So he's going to do what he's going to do. But right here is where I got a bit encouraged. This is where he was tired. His legs, his body was telling him no, but his mind and heart were were telling him, yes, let's still go. And that's what I found really, really encouraging for Cosmicality this time around, because he finally, he was 2 rank, and then still with the blinkers on. I thought that was very well handled by Jean Avello as far as him. He wanted to get out a little bit in that turn. He was able to just be navigated ever so slightly well. So I think he needed that race. Hopefully he doesn't bounce, and if he doesn't bounce, he's going to come out great on top today.
Yeah, I think he's going to do well.
Yes.
I do hope he doesn't get snatched late like he did in that last race. So end up using Royal Number, who is making his turf debut. Looking at the pedigree side, Dan was a multiple stakes winner, including Gin Talking Sprinting. Half-brother Starry Moon has run well on turf. There is some turf to suggest that this could work. We know that he was very highly regarded, third in the Federico Tessio in his 3-year-old year, so that was last year. Look, he seems to be doing incredibly well. Won an allowance condition last time out. It's an interesting move. And J1 Barbosa gets aboard as well.
I'm sure Avello had Avello's agent had the choice between Cosmicality or Royal Number. So I think I think they're just giving the horse a shot, as far as they're giving. J.R. Barbosa gets a shot on a horse that hasn't tried turf before, but as you said, the breeding suggests. However, also you do have J.R. Barbosa, who is riding smart for a bug, and if he understands what's going on with Cosmicality, he can just sit right off, let Cosmicality go, do a Pat Day ride, and just sneak up on him last minute. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So, yeah, right on the wire, and there's a decent chance for that.
Definitely two runners that both you and I think are going to be the main players in here. I guess the speed and the closer. Always good to have the best of the speed and the best of the closer as well. Underneath, we both have kind of different horses. I used the number 8 in here, Nicky Bear, who didn't have the best of starts in his last couple of outings. I'm hoping he's going to get back to proceedings again in here. So I guess I'm just taking a bit of a chance on him returning to some of the form he showed 3, 4, 5 starts ago when on the turf at Colonial.
On the turf at Colonial, yes, but that was just after he showed performance at Delaware after breaking his maiden for 10 at Colonial. That's just what we're at an allowance level right now, so that's really my biggest question with him. So
is my shot to use underneath in here,
there
but you used the number.
You did well yesterday with the Robin Graham horse, so I'm gonna sit with you on this one.
He ran his heart out. You use also Brittany Russell's start in here, number 12. The AE will be lining up. Chevy and Toledo on board. Fairgrounds campaigner, didn't disgrace himself whatsoever. I did remember talking with Brittany about her time at the fairgrounds, saying that some horses did prefer this circuit.
Yes, and this horse, I think it took this horse a couple of tries to get used to that fairgrounds turf surface, but showing back here at Pimlico, that's where you look at the Pimlico performances and you're kind of like, but I think I'm gonna give this horse another honest, solid try, because that was not the first time on the turf, but after a little bit of a break, I'm just gonna give this horse a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
So he has figures on the go back that would make him interesting for underneath, and of course having Brittany Russell in your corner helps as well. The nightcap is race number 8. Optional claim and starter allowance here 6 furlongs. The distance we landed on the same top choice. Bossman JJ for trainer Tim Saltzman. He held his own in his first try against these optional claim and starter allowance last time. I tried to take them coast to coast. Wasn't able to do so, but held on gamely for second.
Held on gamely for second, and that's always something to be considered. A horse I can just kind of we're getting some confidence. We've got a more confident horse now. When they fight off challengers coming from behind, when they don't get the wire front, that's really it for me. So I think this horse is only going to improve in the mind from then on.
Yeah, I think so as well. He has plenty of speed now. There is a little bit of speed on his inside, so I hope that he can kind of either sit in front of them or shake them loose quickly enough. You use the number 5 underneath, which is on the engine for trainer Damon Delodo Vico. He does have that right running style behind the speedsters that I already mentioned, and broke his maiden last time out, so on the upswing for sure coming in.
On the upswing, I think absolutely a nice work to prove that he's still in good form after that, after breaking his maiden on May 1st, 49-1. The track was nice that day, and then you have Damon Delodovico, who when the barn and the team get a horse on a roll, they tend to stay pretty consistent, whether it's on a win streak or a 1-2-3 streak. That's also what I'm referring to as well in my choice in the exacta.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They tend to do well when they start getting them going. They give them some time in
Yep.
between if needed.
Sure.
They only line them up if they think
Sure.
they're ready to
Yes.
go. So don't sit on the number 5 for 20 Damon Ludovico in here either. As we might as well get going with lightning round. Plenty to discuss. Of course, we're going to keep you updated when it comes to the Preakness runners in here. That is Simplification, who was the first one on site for trainer Antonio Sano. See him just testing out the dirt track in here. And look, I'm glad to see them here. Can't wait for the rest to arrive. It's going to be a tremendous week.
It will be. They'll start shipping in probably Monday, Tuesday, and you and I are going to be there getting in on all the action, giving you guys updates as we go during the week. But I'm sure Simplification's exercise rider in the morning is loving the fact that it's a very quiet track to train in the mornings, as this horse would probably be set off by any horse coming in on his inside.
Yeah, looked like he just had the whole track to himself.
He did.
Easy breezing, always nice. I remember when I was riding out at some other places that sometimes if you cut the track at the right time,
yes,
all to yourself.
You have to time it with the right horse at the right time. Yes, absolutely. Get the flow of the track. But Pimlico is a pretty easy flow no matter what. So most of these guys should get a nice trip in the mornings here.
And we were discussing the Kentucky Heron already yesterday, Secret Oath. We did get confirmation that Coach Dwayne Lucas is going to be sending her to the Preakness, trying to best the boys. Of course, recently we had Swiss Skydiver in 2020, Rachel Alexandra in 2009.
I'm excited.
This is what we want to see for that middle duel. The girl taking on the boys for Dwayne Lucas, looking for that 7th Preakness victory as well.
Yes, I mean, she proved herself against the boys before in a bit of that fairgrounds run. But she was chasing after a horse that was chasing a very quick speed. So there was a lot of work for her to do last time out. So she obviously overcame that and proved her worth in the Kentucky Oaks. So we'll get to see her. I love a filly who runs against the boys. Let's see it. Let's see Coach come here and shake things up in Baltimore.
Yeah, they already tried at Oaklawn Park in the Arkansas Derby.
Yes.
And I remember asking him about that and if it was, for the prestige of beating the boys. He said, no, we're trying to win $1 million race. So he's got his eyes on the prize. Unfortunately, we also have a runner that will not be lining up this year in the Preakness. The news came in yesterday. Kentucky Derby winner Rich Strike is going to be bypassing the middle duel of the Triple Crown. A deep closing winner of the Kentucky Derby. But we are looking at the horse that ran second as well to be lining up. Of course, that is Epicenter for trainer Steve Asmussen. So we're lucky to have him. It's unfortunate, but completely understandable for the connections to do what they think is right for their horse.
Well, I think they're just very much sticking to their guns on the plans that they had for this horse prior to getting in the Derby. So they were planning on running this horse in the Preakness if not the Derby happened. So I think they're just, like as I mentioned, they're just sticking to their convictions, sticking to their guns, and that's what they want, and that's what they know probably what the horse runs best at. So I have to applaud them, and of course it is disappointing, not disappointing, but you always want to see a Derby winner come here for the Preakness. It's very exciting, but you also want to respect the horsemen for their decisions. I'm tossed either way.
Yeah, I can agree with you more that I'd love to have seen the Kentucky Derby winner continue that quest for a Triple Crown a bit, but completely understandable from a horsemanship point of view. Do have to point you towards the opportunity to still purchase some tickets for Preakness as well as Black Eyed Susan Day. If you want to go and scan that logo, I tried it once. Otherwise, go to Preakness.com and check out how you can still be a part of this incredible party that we've got lined up for you. A final point here is that Maryland champion jockey Jevian Toledo started the Preakness meet with a bang. Only had 3 rides yesterday. Managed to win all of them. Race number 4 on Ultimate Irony. Race number 7, I'm Blushing. And then he took the nightcap on a silent service as well for Anthony Ferrier.
I think he has an answer for J-Ron Barbosa, and he gave the beginning of that answer yesterday here at the beginning of the Pimlico meet. So, hey, I like your answer, Javian.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight
Yes.
jockey race, like it was at Laurel Park between
Yes.
Jaron Barbosa and Javier Toledo, with Jaron, of course, just edging out the title holder. But look, we are ready for it again. Deep riding bench here as we count down until race number 1 at 12:40 p.m. post as usual. Kali and I will be on again this afternoon, and I'm going to send it up to the voice of the Mid-Atlantic Circuit here, Dave Rotman.